Welcome, everyone. So, have you ever just picked up a product, kind of glanced at the label, and completely missed the profound story staring right back at you? I know I have. Well, today in this explainer, we're going straight to the source to uncover the rich cultural narrative hidden in plain sight on just a single product label. We're going to deconstruct this thing piece by piece to reveal exactly how design and text can literally preserve a legacy.
All right, let's dive right into it. Take a second to really absorb all the details in this design. This right here is the label for Kabayan Tapey rice wine. Now, at first glance, yeah, it's a beautiful, kind of rustic piece of packaging. But as we unpack this source material today, we're going to break it down into three core pillars: geographical roots, the artisanal process, and cultural iconography.
But first things first, we've got to define our main subject. Check out that bold typography, right smack the middle. Tapey. Just look at how that script flows. It proudly announces itself not just as some generic beverage, but specifically as a traditional rice wine crafted in the Philippines. It's like this indigenous word basically sets the stage for the whole shebang.
So here is how we'll break this down today. First, roots in Benguet's heritage. Second, the Kintamon fermentation process. Third, decoding cultural symbols. And finally, a legacy in a bottle.
Let's jump into part one, roots in Benguet's heritage.
Notice the text right along the bottom curve of the label. It says Kabayan Benguet, Philippines. Now, this is way more than just a manufacturing address, you know? It's a total declaration of origin. By putting this text right at the foundation of the circular design, they're firmly anchoring the product in the mountainous heart of the Philippines. It essentially tells us that the environment itself is completely inseparable from the wine. And man, they brilliantly illustrate that exact region. The designer didn't just slap some text on there and call it a day, they visually backed it up. Look at that stunning background illustration. You've got these towering, majestic mountain peaks just rising into the clouds. There are these sweeping, super intricate stepped rice terraces carved directly into the mountainside. And framing the whole thing, silhouettes of evergreen pine forests. It's like a giant window into the physical geography of Benguet, taking a simple geographic tag and turning it into a vibrant, visual sense of place.
Moving right along to part two, the Kintamon fermentation process. Check out those dark red rice stalks just bursting out of the jar on the left. This perfectly matches the explicit claim right under the product name, crafted from heirloom Kintamon rice. I mean, they aren't using some cheap commercial grain here. They are going out of their way to highlight a very specific traditional red rice variety, Kintamon, as the absolute foundation of this wine. It's a really proud testament to agricultural biodiversity. You know, we could actually map the central text block into a direct step-by-step journey. Step 1. Source the heirloom Kintamon rice. Step 2. Naturally ferment it. And Step 3. Handcraft it the traditional way. The label spells this out so clearly to highlight a deliberate, slow approach, which, let's be real, stands in stark contrast to mass-produced industrial brewing.
So the big takeaway here is that the process itself is the primary selling feature. Naturally fermented, the traditional way. Those words act as a literal badge of pure, unadulterated cultural authenticity. It basically tells the consumer, hey, what you're holding is a direct continuation of ancestral knowledge passed down through generations. Actually, it's the exact opposite of a recipe cooked up in some modern corporate lab.
All right, let's get into part 3, decoding cultural symbols. I want you to take a really close look at that beautiful jar on the lower left. Do you notice the specific geometric and tribal etchings all over its surface? Yeah, this isn't your standard glass bottle or some modern steel vat. It's a meticulously detailed representation of a traditional earthenware jar. And that motif even continues down to the stylized geometric pattern that flanks the origin text. Think about modern, disposable packaging for a second. Now contrast that with what this illustrated jar represents. It's a massive difference, right? Modern packaging is just, well, a utilitarian container meant to be tossed in the recycling bin. But this jar, it represents a sacred vessel. It signifies this deep, enduring connection to indigenous craftsmanship, to communal gatherings, and to the historical rituals of the region. Honestly, it holds heritage just as much as it holds wine. Okay, now look all the way up at the very top curve of the label. We've got 3 powerful words: authentic, heritage, handcrafted.
This placement is absolutely brilliant because it acts as a literal and figurative crown over the entire design. Before you even read the brand name or notice the mountains, these 3 words set the ultimate tone. They totally frame how you perceive the product, confirming all those visual stories of the terraces, the rice, and the jar right below it.
And finally, part 4, a legacy in a bottle.
So what's really fascinating here is how after we've completely deconstructed this thing, it's not just a simple label anymore, is it? You don't just see a brand name. You're seeing the misty terraces of Banquet. You understand the specific use of heirloom Kintamon rice fermented in sacred earthenware jars. You're seeing a rich geographical, historical, and artisanal story completely unified into a cultural manifesto, hiding right there in plain sight.
Which really leaves us with a fascinating question to ponder. If a single product label can hold this much regional heritage and artisanal history, what kind of cultural stories are hiding on the shelves of your own local market right now? I definitely challenge you to apply this same focused observation to the everyday objects in your life. You might just be surprised at the absolute masterpieces of storytelling you walk past every single day. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep your eyes open.